Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a really fascinating modern fable. It's a story that uses just a touch of magical realism to hold up a very sharp, very clear mirror to our digital age. We spend so much of our lives, curating our image, performing for likes, chasing that validation, but what if the universe stripped all of those filters away? What if it stopped listening to the words we say and actually started showing everyone exactly what we meant?
Seriously, just think about that for a second. What if the world could see the true intention behind your actions? Keep that provocative question right at the front of your mind as we go through today's explainer. In the narrative we're breaking down, humanity is suddenly forced to answer that exact question. It's a fable exploring the hidden and honestly often devastating cost of seeking fame over genuine connection. We're looking at a world where the sincerity of the human heart is no longer a private thing. It's a highly visible, physical phenomenon.
All right, let's get into section 1, the Midnight Miracle. Every massive global shift has an origin point, right? Well, in our story, this profound change begins in the quietest, most heartbreaking place imaginable. Picture this. It's exactly midnight in a crowded hospital room. A little boy holds his mother's hand and whispers a simple, desperate plea for her to live. And then, the impossible happens. A soft, glowing, golden light rises right out of his chest like smoke, passes straight through the ceiling, and just floats up into the heavens. The doctors and nurses are literally frozen in awe. But because it's the world we live in, someone pulls out a phone, someone records it, and within hours, the video of this incredibly intimate, sincere moment goes totally viral across the globe. Naturally, the internet's first reaction is intense skepticism. People are calling it a publicity stunt or some really clever CGI.
But then, the phenomenon starts spreading. It definitely wasn't a camera trick. Over in churches, these glowing streams of light begin rising into the sky. In lonely, quiet bedrooms, people crying out in isolation suddenly see their prayers shimmering upward like literal stars. Even in the darkest of prison cells, inmates are watching physical light rise right out of their chests. The source material makes an absolutely crucial point here, so don't miss this. The glowing light wasn't tied to a specific location or a certain type of person. It was tied exclusively to genuine, unfiltered sincerity. Wherever a truly sincere heart cried out, the light followed.
Which brings us to section 2, the smoke of performance. Okay, so human nature is complex, right? And let's be real, not every intention is pure. The world very quickly realizes that not every prayer glows. When people speak out of hatred, greed, jealousy, or just pure pride, the reaction is honestly terrifying. Instead of that beautiful rising golden light, thick black smoke pours downward. It literally crawls from the person and sinks straight into the earth. Suddenly, the whole world is terrified, because for the very first time in human history, we could physically see the actual condition of each other's hearts. You could no longer hide a bad intention behind a beautifully crafted string of words.
And here we see a really stark, unforgettable contrast. On one hand, you have a famous preacher standing before a crowd of thousands, shouting these elaborate, loud prayers for the cameras, just desperate for the applause. But his grand performance is met with a horrifying reality. Dark smoke crawls out of him and sinks right into the stage. The crowd goes dead silent. Now compare that to an unknown old woman sitting completely alone in a tiny house, just quietly praying for her kids. Her prayer rises up brighter than the sun itself. It's a painful realization, really. The universe wasn't listening to the performance. The size of the audience didn't matter at all. Literally, the only thing that mattered was sincerity.
So, what happens next? Well, the societal fallout is massive. When you completely strip away the ability to fake being a good person, the entire architecture of our performative culture just collapses. Influencers immediately stop live streaming their fake charity stunts because, hey, if they do it for views, that black smoke is going to completely expose their greed. Politicians stop pretending to care. Major celebrities just vanish from the internet entirely, absolutely terrified that a dark prayer will ruin their precious brand. But there is a really tragic side effect here too. Fear spreads across the earth like wildfire. People become so ashamed of what might appear, so afraid of their own messy, imperfect human hearts, that a lot of them just stop praying altogether. The cost of seeking fame had built a society so reliant on filters that raw truth was just too terrifying.
Moving on to section 3, the hidden cost of fame.
Now we're going to shift from that macro, global view down to a really intimate look at one guy trying to navigate this crazy new reality. Enter Daniel. Daniel represents the ultimate modern success story. He is incredibly famous online. I mean, he has millions of followers. The money, the cars, constant attention, basically everything society tells us we should dream about. But as the source text notes, despite having the eyes of millions on him, every single night he feels completely and utterly empty. He had built an entire empire on performance. Actually, the text specifically mentions he would do these fake live streams, pretending to help homeless people just to farm views and engagement. It's tough to hear, but it's real. So one evening, after coming home from yet another one of those exploitative fake live streams, Daniel sits alone. He's just staring out at the city lights. He has everything, but he has absolutely nothing real. And in the quiet of his room, he whispers, "God, I don't even know if I've ever been real with you." Let that sink in for a second. It is such a profound confession of a life wasted on performative validation. He isn't asking for anything here. He's just finally, truly admitting his own profound emptiness. For a moment, absolutely nothing happens. But then, a tiny flicker of gold rises from Daniel's chest. It's small, it's weak. Honestly, it's barely visible, but it is real. Daniel just breaks down crying. And the source text tells us he doesn't cry because the prayer is some grand, beautiful spectacle. He cries because after years and years of pretending, of performing for an audience of millions who didn't actually know him, he was finally heard. His absolute, unpolished truth was enough. Daniel's redemption requires a complete dismantling of his old life. Step 1, he turns off his cameras. Step 2, he completely abandons the live stream, the audience, and the filters. He walks away from the fame that was quietly destroying him from the inside out. Step 3, he just sits in the quiet, just him and his absolute truth. He realizes that the connection he was desperately seeking all along, well, it couldn't be found through a camera lens or a screen. It could only be found in honest, raw vulnerability.
Let's look at the final part. Section 4. One honest prayer.
Daniel's quiet decision doesn't just happen in a vacuum. His choice echoes across a broken, frightened world. We start to see a massive global shift toward honesty. Millions of people follow his lead and simply turn off their cameras. They stop trying to impress this invisible, demanding audience. Instead, they start doing the real, hard, completely unglamorous work of human connection. People are apologizing to their families for the first time in years. Individuals return to their faith, falling to their knees just to ask for mercy. They completely abandon the whole act of performing for others. The filters are finally permanently dropped.
And the visual result of all this vulnerability? It is absolutely staggering. The source material paints this breathtaking picture. The skies don't just fill with light from stars, but from billions of glowing prayers. It's like rivers of gold crossing the night sky. Entire cities come to a complete standstill. Kids are pointing upward in absolute awe. The whole world stands silent, watching the heavens shine brighter than ever before, illuminated entirely by the collective power of human sincerity.
And then, right in the middle of that unimaginably bright sky, words slowly start to appear. A final, miraculous message that serves as the ultimate moral of our fable. It reads, "I never wanted perfection. I wanted your heart." This just brilliantly illustrates the ultimate tragedy of the human condition in our digital age. We exhaust ourselves trying to project perfection, thinking that's the only thing that makes us worthy of love or attention or grace. But perfection was never the goal. Honesty was.
So, what is the big takeaway from this incredible story? Look, we spend so much of our limited time on Earth chasing fame, hoarding money, and practically begging for external validation. We build these elaborate masks just to hide our flaws. But the hidden cost of that fame, the heavy price of that constant performance, is our own inner peace. This fable reminds us that true connection, whether that's with each other, with ourselves, or with a higher power, doesn't require a follower count. It only requires honest, unfiltered vulnerability. Humanity had been exhausting itself, while all along the universe was just waiting for one honest moment.
I want to leave you with this final thought to really ponder today. If the filters were stripped away right now, no cameras, no audience, no ability to carefully curate how people perceive you, what would your intentions look like? Would they rise up as a brilliant golden light, or would they sink into the earth? It's a challenging question for sure, but an absolutely essential one for all of us navigating a world that is so obsessed with being seen rather than just being real. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, stay curious, and I really encourage you to think about where you might be able to turn off the cameras in your own life.